I do want to bring in Silva Megerditchian, a criminal defense attorney and legal analyst, to talk more about all of this, as again, this case is getting national attention. Thank you so much for taking the time here to join us.
Thank you, Josh, so much. It's an honor.
So first off, we know right now that Marine was let go. He has not been charged. We do know that the DA says that they are looking at evidence, and the medical examiner's office calling this a homicide. Do we know at this point if charges could still be filed?
Yes, absolutely. Charges could still be filed and can be charged months after the incident. Josh, there's so much that goes through that happens in an investigation for a case like this. It's a self-defense case, and there's more complications to it. It's not just about self-defense. They do have to interview the witnesses on the train. They have to go through video. And New York City has a long history when it comes to vigilantism and self-defense. And the key here is, was this Marine essentially in fear for himself or trying to protect others? And all of that usually takes a lengthy investigation.
And I do want to take you out live right now because this is actually a live image coming in from a rally that's being held where folks out there in New York City are asking for the DA to file those charges. Now, based on your legal experience, what are your thoughts on the fact that no charges have been filed thus far?
Well, it's normal. Josh, it's a case where you have a young man who did try to subdue someone. It doesn't seem like there's any intent to kill. It looks like he was trying to subdue, calm down the person. And it shows you because there were two other witnesses that tried to help him subdue the young man. What's really unfortunate in a case like this also, what complicates matters, is it looks like the system also failed the victim. This young man was 24 years old. He had a history of, the Marine was 24 years old. The victim was a young man who had just serious mental illness, a tragic life where his mother was killed in a very violent way. His aunt came out and said that he needed a lot of help. It's just a tragedy all around, and he never got the proper help. And then you also have people in New York who are scared to death of crime. The crime rates have gone up. They don't feel protected. And a lot of people do feel like they have to take their defense in their own hands. So it's unfortunate. And I just hope the discussion continues, both when it comes to giving proper help to those who are mentally ill. And also maybe New York City can really help in proactive policing like they used to.
Does it make it more difficult for investigators in a case like this when honestly the eyes of the nation are on them? People across the country are paying such close attention to this case. How does that affect how investigators go about doing their jobs?
Oh, Josh, it's always a part of every criminal case. When the eyes of the world are on you, you want to make sure that you dot every I and cross every T. You don't want to make a mistake. You have a minority victim here. There's always going to be an underlying issue of was race involved. And then you have an issue of self-defense and whether people should have a legitimate right to protect themselves and protect others. New York doesn't want to get it wrong. They've been in the news for a lot of reasons. There's been a lot of press on the dangerousness of the subway system. In this case, they don't want to make a mistake. Again, when the eyes of the world are looking at you, you want to show that you're prosecutorial, but that you're compassionate. So they want to make sure that they don't make a wrong move. And when I say they, I mean the mayor and the district attorney's office. They have a lot to consider. It's not a black and white case here. There's a lot underneath.
And you kind of touched on this here, but why do you think so many people across the country are paying such close attention to this case? You've seen it making national headlines, people on social media posting the video and sharing their thoughts. Why is that?
I think because it's sad all around. You have a young victim who really had a horrific existence, right? Where a mother was slaughtered, where he looks like the system failed him. You have a young Marine, an ex-Marine, who seemed like he was just trying to subdue someone who inspired fear in others. It doesn't look like this young man did anything other than crazy words, essentially. Not only do you have a race issue where you have two different ethnicities involved, but you also underneath it have mental illness issues. And I think it strikes a chord, especially when there's so many families dealing with mental illness, where they have a loved one who they beg for help, and there just isn't a system in place where there's help given. I think we can all say if this victim had mental help in some capacity, would we be in this position? As a criminal defense attorney, it crushes me that it's another mentally ill person where he's not understood, where help wasn't given, where he became a victim, and also a Marine who seemed like all he was trying to do was subdue someone because he was trying to defend others. It's just a tragic story all around, I think, for everybody, no matter where you are on the issue. It's it's just a hard thing to see.
And of course, we know this was all caught on camera. It's been circulating not just on social media, but all over YouTube and other platforms there. How does that change an investigation when you literally have the incident caught on camera and so many people across the country have seen it?
It's true, Josh. I mean, we always say as criminal defense attorneys, honestly, video is always a great thing for us. But you also want a full video, not just of the incident, but what led up to the incident. And in a case like this, that's most important because it doesn't tell the full story. We know the Marine had him in a chokehold, but we're not really sure about what happened before that. We know that witnesses said that this young man was screaming essentially, "I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I don't care if I spend the rest of my life in state prison, I don't care anymore." But we need to see what was done for this Marine to feel like himself or others were in danger. Because I will tell you, Josh, if in fact it wasn't clear that there was any danger, it's unlikely he wouldn't be arrested by now. Or the fact that witnesses tried to also subdue this young man. Also, the Marine waited for the officers to come to the scene. The train operator called the police. So there's a lot going on that needs to be explained just beyond the snippet of video that's been circulated.
And really briefly, once again, I do want to pop up this live image coming in. This is a protest and rally being held there in New York City where folks are asking for charges to be filed against this Marine. So do social media and the cries for change like this circulating all over play any kind of role in how the case is investigated? Do we have investigators actually taking this into account?
You know, Josh, I think it would be, no matter what, with criminal defense these days in the age of social media, it does have a huge impact because it's different when the eyes of the world are on you and when social media takes a platform. You know, they release names, they release issues, and it gets almost a gang mentality involved where they might not have the full story. You know, we can't forget that a lot of times investigations, a lot of it is private. They don't release all of the information. So I think investigators in this arena need to be really careful what they release, how they go forward. And regardless of the decision they make, I really do believe in a case like this, in all cases like this, full transparency is absolutely necessary to show people that the system does work, or at least that full analysis has been given for whatever charges are made or not made.
One thing that's always interesting is, you know, the medical examiner has said his death was a homicide, and so many people seem to equate homicide with murder, and they're not necessarily the same thing. So I think in a lot of cases, that's what people hear, but they're really just not the same.
Exactly. There's an intent issue. You know, especially in a case like this, it doesn't look like the Marine's intent was to kill. It seemed like the intent was to subdue. Unlike in other cases where, you know, again, national media cases where the victim says, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." In this case, it looks like the victim was still moving around. He was still trying to get out of the chokehold and was fighting back, necessitating two additional witnesses to try to subdue him. So homicide is a very tricky thing because it's also intent, and intent is always analyzed as a primary issue when it comes to charges being delivered. And this could be charged as a manslaughter, where intent isn't really necessary. It really depends what comes out from those witness statements and other videos that are not redacted or small pieces in time.
And it's so true because people hear homicide and just automatically equate it to murder. Now, the real question is what happens next in the investigation here? What is the next step?
All witnesses need to be interviewed. All videos need to be watched and subpoenaed. And honestly, the Marine is going to be interviewed over and over and over again to make sure to find out what exactly his purpose was, why he thought he needed to either protect others or protect himself. And also, this standard is very much objectively. Would anyone in his position feel like they were in danger or other people were in danger? Would his inaction have caused some kind of danger to himself or others? By the time that is figured out, it's going to take some time. And if charges are being filed, again, they should be filed within 60 to 90 days, I would imagine. I don't think New York is going to want to delay this because the more they delay, the more media attention is really going to surround needless delays. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns, but we should have some answers, I would say, within a 30 to 90-day period.
My last question for you here, is there any way to determine if charges will be filed here, or is it pretty much just kind of up in the air as you can see both sides of why and why not those charges might be filed or not?
I think the mayor did a good job in just saying we need to get all the facts. We can't jump to conclusions, especially when you have an issue like this that has so many layers. The fact of the matter is, I feel like if crime wasn't such an issue in New York City, there wouldn't be such a discussion. But it is, riding the subway these days, you don't know whether you're going to get home safely without incident. And I think what the mayor is saying is let's just take our time, fully investigate this, and see if charges are necessitated. I'm a child of the 80s, and I lived in New York when that Bernie Goetz case came out, where a man shot at people who were trying to hold him up with a screwdriver, and that made national news. New York has a very rich history in these kinds of cases. So honestly, at this stage, anything could happen.
All right, Silva Megerditchian, thank you so much for taking the time here to talk to us and provide some insight there on a case that so many people are paying such close attention to. Is there anything else that you want to add before I let you go?
Josh, the only thing I would say, again, as a criminal defense attorney, we put so much money in the system towards so many issues. The number one issue that we really should invest in is proper mental health. I still say if this young man had the help after his mom was killed, where he could have done therapy, therapeutic intervention, would we be where we are now, where a street performer who made utterances on the subway is now tragically killed? We need mental health assistance for families where they have a family member who's really suffering. We need to get more money into a system to help people. And that's where I just want everyone to just, find the help they need and have communities invest more in this. That's the only way we can prevent tragedies like this.
All right, Silva, thank you again for taking the time here to join us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. It's so honored to be on your program. Thank you for everything.
All right, everybody, taking a live look once again over in New York City. We've been bringing you the comments here as this rally and protest are underway as folks are asking for that Marine to be charged in connection with Jordan's death. We will continue to bring you updates as we do get them.